Join me as we dive into how Marist Liufau in his second year is shaking up the Cowboys defense and how Matt Eberflus' new DC can really unlock his skill set for this upcoming season. We can't wait, and I'll show you exactly how this is going to play out. Let's get it.
Turn the pressure up. I don't quit. I don't fold under pressure. I'm the best, and I know I'm the best. And you know I'm the best.
What's up, everybody? Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. But before we jump into any film, Marist is going to give us an insight on how he's improved and how Matt Eberflus has influenced him.
I think I worked on my speed the most, just doing a lot more sprints than I would usually do.
Matt Eberflus is a linebacker guy. What have you kind of picked up from him here early on in your time together?
Kind of what I said earlier, that effort, running to the football, that just the standard of play is what I really picked up, first of all, from Coach Flus and kind of his philosophy as a defense before we even get into plays and things like that, just the way we play football.
Marist Liufau's combination of size, speed, and skill set allow him almost to play positionless football as a linebacker. I think that he has the qualities to play all three positions, especially in Eberflus' scheme: the Mike, the Sam, and the Will. And I think that the way that his physicality works, he almost marks as one of those old school linebackers. The one thing that I really liked about Marist coming out of school, coming out of Notre Dame, is his ability to do his job, but not just do his job, but finish. You know, I think that early on people didn't like his ability to tackle. I think that with NFL coaching for a year, he had shored up that ability. The way that he shoots gaps, the way that his instincts work, I think make him a guy that is going to really surprise. And this is before Eberflus really got his hands on him in that building. The one thing that we do know is that Matt Eberflus gets his linebackers right. If you're going to play under him, you're going to play fast, you're going to play physical, and most importantly, your IQ is going to be there. We have complained over the past about linebackers and, just having the instincts of a linebacker. This is one thing about Marist that we don't have to worry about. And so when you have a guy that is going to come in here as your DC and Eberflus and help him hone those abilities, I think that the sky's the limit for Marist Liufau. What up with y'all, man? I'm excited to sit here and talk about Marist Liufau today. So, I got my RB1 mindset hat on, and what better way to really showcase the ability of my running back mindset than to break down a linebacker on our team that is capable of having a breakout season. Marist Liufau has the skill set, has the will, has the body type. He has everything that you need in a linebacker to break out. And so that is the key adversary to running backs is the linebacker. So really understanding what the linebacker means to the NFL, to the position, to our team. And so what I will tell you is that I think that this guy can play all three positions, and Eberflus can unlock that, and we're going to break that down here. So I did have a discussion with my good friend Aisha Morrison, asking her about the role of what we might believe that Marist Liufau might be. And some of it was we talked about what Kenneth Murray can be, what Sanborn can be, and Sanborn has the ability to play Mike and Will in this offense. So we believe that between Kenneth Murray and Sanborn, Sanborn having the I guess the advantage, as Shotty would say, with knowing the system, those guys are fighting for the green dot right now, which leaves Marist to be the Sam linebacker in the scheme that can help. So it's like, what do you mean by Sam linebacker? What does a Sam linebacker do? Well, he sets the edge in the run. You're over top of the tight end. You're against pretty much the strong side of the formation in this scheme. Now, before Coach Eberflus had an opportunity to work with Marist, there are some pros and cons that we're going to touch on right now. So his high energy and physical play style is contagious, and that's something that every defense really, you could use that. That's, like I said, it's contagious, it's charismatic, and it makes other people do that as well. He has a special teams impact. His coaches have praised him for that, of being able to have punt and kickoff coverage experience. So we'll probably need that leaning into this year as well. The athletic traits, he's flying around the field, you know what I'm saying, running after the football, closing speed, all of those things, and just coachability. The thing that stood out to me when he came out of Notre Dame is how he's pointing there, pointing here, pointing there, getting guys in position. And I think that maybe the Cowboys this year, use this year, as I spoke with Aisha on last night, they might use this year for him to learn behind the Kenneth Murray, who's had experience with the green dot. You learn behind Sanborn, who understands the scheme, and you grow into the guy that we want you to grow into at the linebacker position. Some of the cons are, it's not as deep of a list as people would think. Cons that are really going to be things that really impact what happened here. You're looking at limited reps. I think that he played a lot of reps later on in the year last year, in which you need that. And you look at Sanborn, you look at Murray. Like, obviously, he's not going to over jump those guys in that category. So, limited defensive reps, but I did like the reps that he put on film. When I think about it, that Tampa Bay game is one that stands out to me. His physicality and imposing will. That was something that stood out to me. Coverage inconsistencies, and that comes with reps, that comes with feel of the game, that comes with tape. That really just comes with seeing and doing, seeing and doing, seeing and doing. Those are things that can be improved with coaching. And I do think we have the coaching staff for him. And then, undersized, but I think that he's bulked up now and he looks the part. Aisha talked about it. Nick Harris talked about it. He tweeted about it. So, as you can see in the picture and the overlay and all of that stuff, he's bulking up. Yeah, I think that that's something. And he talked about getting sprinting being something that, so I think that with that size, he wants to be able to move better as well. So how can Coach Eberflus, unlock what he's going to be in our scheme? So the responsibility in Eberflus's scheme is going to be, he's going to align on the strong side a lot. He's going to have to set the edge in the run game, which is something that we have made it a point in Dallas that we do not want to get run on anymore. All right, so he's going to have that ability, right? And I'm looking at my notes right now. He's gonna have to play in the overhang position some of the time, which means like he's gonna be outside of the end, and it's going to be almost as if he's coming off the edge. He could be coming off the edge, or he could drop in coverage. So that's some things to look for, and you guys can see that in the clips playing in the background. More than likely, you see it in the Bengals game when he came off the edge and got that sack. That's more of an overhang position right there. He's gonna have to cover tight end sometimes in the shorter area routes and stuff like that. And like we said, that's something he has to get better at, and that comes with doing and seeing. And then, may blitz off the edge like we talked about. So where are his strengths that fit the Sam role, right? His physicality, you know what I'm saying? How strong he is. You guys see him when he hits you, you feel it. And so that's something that a Sam can do. Typically your Sam is the bigger guy that, you want him combating the tight ends and stuff like that. And you want him to make things a short area. His explosiveness and getting off blocks. I do like that. That's one of the traits that I loved about him coming out, is how he does shed blocks. How you shock, you lock, and get him up off of you. Those are some of the things that I like. Special teams experience is something that we can use to unlock, because he plays with his hair on fire. So if he goes down and he smacks somebody, you get up, you hit, and you talk ish. You know what I'm saying? Like that's part of the game that we love, and that can help unlock. And then his instincts. We talked about linebacker instincts. He has those. So if Eberflus can help him really unlock that with how he develops linebackers, I think that he can be an ace in this defense, even in that role. Now, the ways that we can do that is we can simplify it and simplify his assignments early. He's a younger guy, right? So Coach Eberflus can simplify it. That way the game slows down and he can, speed it up and play fast, because that's ultimately, when you know your assignment, you can play fast. That's when it's better. A lot of people want all this complex stuff, but you don't necessarily need complex all the time. Sometimes you could just know an assignment. It can be simple and you know it like the back of your hand. And that's one of the things. Sub package weapon. Like I said, I think he can play all three slots. You can send him after the quarterback. You can drop him in coverage sometimes, or you can really just have him, play the run and all that type of stuff. Like being able to move him around. And I think that one of the keys too is we did go get some edge rushers and moving Micah back to a linebacker as well. So now you got a whole bunch of chess pieces. And I do think Marist can be a chess piece with sending him after the quarterback as well. We talked about continued special teams growth. That's another thing. We're going to keep talking about that because special teams is important, because you got to be able to control hitting yardage in the game. What I mean by hitting yardage, if like, for example, if a punt returner can return something, can get a 10-yard return from where it is, that's a first down. You got to count that as a first down. But if you could tackle him where he caught the ball, you know, that 10 yards is 10 yards more that they got to go and try and get a first down. And finally, one of the implementation things that we can do is really create that strong linebacker culture, which Coach Eberflus has done in the past. He's done a very good job at it. And Marist could really be the face of that eventually. Might not be ready for it right now, but eventually I think that he's a guy that at Notre Dame lived up to strong linebacker culture. And knowing what Eberflus does with linebackers, this guy could really burst out the scene. So ultimately, I think that Marist is going to have an excellent year. They've been talking about Kenneth Murray flying around. They've been talking about Sanborn being the IQ guy. But from Marist, looking at his film, looking at the promise, looking at the type of pedigree he is, I said this before. I thought that he was going to be the next Fred Warner, and I still believe that. And you bringing in a guy like Eberflus, that, oh man, that's like that. That's like the cherry on top. I really, really believe in the things that we're gonna do on this defensive side of the ball. This defense, I like the way that it's moving. I like the direction that it's moving. I like some of the personnel. Might be missing one or two pieces. I still think that this team is missing a veteran DT and a veteran corner that can kind of come in and show some of these young guys the ropes. But outside of that, I think that the personnel for this defense, I think that Matt Eberflus, I think that the competitive nature in which they're building this team is going to build something special. Now, originally, I thought the linebacker room might have been in trouble, but I think that the physicality and the type of guys that they have in the positions, this will probably be a shocker of a group, and I think that Marist will be a part of that. So, appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for more content, and we out. Peace.